Aaraaf by Edgar Allan Poe 1829 Part 10. Nothing earthly save the ray, thrown back from flowers, of beauty's eye, as in those gardens where the day springs from the gems of Circassio. Nothing earthly save the thrill of melody in woodland reel or, music of the passion-hearted, joy's voice so peacefully departed that like the murmur in the shell, its echo dwelleth in world woe. Nothing of the dross of hours, yet all the beauty, all the flowers that list our love, and deck our bowers adorn yon world afar, afar the wandering star. 'Twas a sweet time for Nessos, for there her world lay lolling on the golden air, near for bright suns a temporary rest, an oasis in desert of the blessed. Away away mid seas of rays that roll Empyrean splendor, or unchained soul, the soul that scarce, the billows are so dense, can struggle to its destined eminence, to distant spheres. From time to time, she rode and laid to ours, the favored one of God, but, now, the ruler of an anchored realm, she throws aside the scepter, leaves the helm, and, amid incense and high spiritual hymns, laves in quadruple light her angel limbs. Now happiest, loveliest in yon lovely earth, whence sprang the idea of beauty into birth, falling in wreaths through many a startled star, like woman's hair mid pearls, until, afar, it lit on hills Achaean, and there dwelt she, looked into infinity and knelt. Rich clouds, for canopies, about her curled, fit emblems of the model of her world, seen but in beauty, not impeding sight of other beauty, glittering through the light, a wreath that twined each starry form around, and all the opaled air in color bound. All hurriedly she knelt upon a bed of flowers, of lilies such as reared the head on the fair Capo di Cotto, and sprang so eagerly around about to hang upon the flying footsteps of deep pride of her who loved immortal and so died. The cephalica, budding with young bees, upward its purple stem around her knees, and gemmy flower, of Trebizond named inmate of highest stars, wherest it shimmed all other loveliness, its honey dew, the fabled nectar that the heat knew, deliriously sweet, was dropped from heaven, and fell on gardens of the unforgiven in Trebizond, and on a sunny flower so like its own above that, to this hour, it still remaineth, torturing the bee with madness, and unwonted reverie, in heaven, and all its environs. The leaf and blossom of the fairy plant in grief disconsolate linger, grief that hangs her head, repenting follies that full long have read, heaving her white breast to the balmy air, like guilty beauty, chastened and more fair, nictants too, as sacred as the light she fears to perfume, perfuming the night, and Clytia, pondering between many a sun, while petish tears adown her petals run, and that aspiring flower that sprang on earth, and died, ere scarce exalted into birth, bursting its odorous heart and spirit to wing its way to heaven, from garden of a king, and Valesnerian lotus, thither flown from struggling with the waters of the Rhone, and thy most lovely purple perfume, sand. I saw the apostrophe or exclamation mark fall the levant. And the Nelumbo bud that floats forever with Indian Cupid down the holy river, fair flowers, and fairy, to whose care is given to bear the goddess song, in odors, up to heaven, spirit, that dwellest where, in the deep sky, the terrible and fair, in beauty vie. Beyond the line of blue, the boundary of the star which turneth at the view of thy barrier, and thy bar of the barrier overgone by the comets who were cast from their pride and from their throne to be drudges till the last to be carriers of fire, the red fire of their heart, with speed that may not tire and with pain that shall not part, who livest that we know in eternity we feel but the shadow of whose brow what spirit shall reveal? Though the beings whom thy Nessos, thy messenger hath known, have dreamed for thy infinity a model of their own, thy will is done, O God. The star hath ridden high through many a tempest, but she rode beneath thy burning eye, and here, in thought, to thee in thought that can alone ascend thy empire and so be a partner of thy throne by winged fantasy, my embassy is given, till secrecy shall knowledge be in the environs of heaven. She seized and buried then her burning cheek abashed, amid the lilies there, to seek a shelter from the fervor of his eye, for the stars trembled at the deity. She stirred not, breathed not, for a voice was there how solemnly pervading the calm air. A sound of silence on the startled ear, which dreamy poets name the music of the sphere. Ours is a world of words, quiet we call silence, which is the merest word of all. All nature speaks, and even ideal things flap shadowy sounds from visionary wings, but not so when, thus, In realms on high the eternal voice of God is passing by, and the red winds are withering in the sky. What though in worlds which sightless cycles run, linked to a little system, and one sun where all my love is folly and the crowd still think my terrors but the thundercloud, the storm, the earthquake, and the ocean wrath, ah! Will they cross me in my angrier path? What though in worlds which on a single sun the sands of time grow dimmer as they run, yet thine is my resplendency, so given to bear my secrets through the upper heaven. Leave tenantless thy crystal home, and fly, with all thy train, athwart the moony sky apart like fireflies in Sicilian night, and wing to other worlds and other light. Divulge the secrets of thy embassy to the proud orbs that twinkle, and so be to every heart a barrier and a ban lest the stars totter in the guilt of man. Uprose the maiden in the yellow night, the single moon div! On earth we plight our faith to one love and one moon adore. The birthplace of young beauty had no more. As sprang that yellow star from downy hours, uprose the maiden from her shrine of flowers, and bent o'er sheeny mountains and dim plain her way, but left not yet her Thracian reign. Part 2. High on a mountain of an emerald head, such as the drowsy shepherd on his bed of giant pasturage lying at his ease, raising his heavy eyelid, starts and sees with many a muttered hope to be forgiven what time the moon is quadrated in heaven of rosy head that, towering far away into the sunlit ether, caught the ray of sunken suns at eve at noon of night, while the moon downed with a fair stranger light upward upon such height arose a pile of gorgeous columns on and birthed air, flashing from Parian marble that twin smile far down upon the wave that sparkled there, and nursed the young mountain in its lair. Of molten stars their pavement, such as fall through the ebon air, besilvering the pall of their own dissolution, while they die adorning then the dwellings of the sky. A dome, by linked light from heaven let down, sat gently on these columns as a crown. A window of one circular diamond, there, looked out above into the purple air, and rays from God shot down that meteor chain and hallowed all the beauty twice again, save, when, between Empyrean and that ring, some eager spirit flapped his dusky wing. But on the pillars seraphies have seen the dimness of this world, that grayish green that nature loves the best. Beauty's grave lurked in each cornice, round each arcade rave and every sculptured cherub thereabout that from his marble dwelling peered out, seemed earthly in the shadow of his niche. In statues in a world so rich. Friezes from Tadmor and Persepolis from Baalbek, and the stilly, clear abyss of beautiful Gemara. Oh, the wave is now upon thee but too late to save. Sound loves to revel in a summer night, witness the murmur of the great twilight that stole upon the ear, inner echo, of many a wild stargazer long ago that stealeth ever on the ear of him who, musing, gazeth on the distant stem, and sees the darkness coming as a cloud. Is not its form its voice most palpable and loud? But what is this ? It cometh, and it brings a music with it. 'Tis the rush of wings, a pause and then a sweeping, falling strain, and Nessos is in her halls again. From the wild energy of wanton haste her cheeks were flushing, and her lips apart, and zone that clung around her gentle waist had burst beneath the heaving of her heart. Within the center of that hall to breathe, she paused and panted, Zen! All beneath, the fairy light that kissed her golden hair and longed to rest, yet could but sparkle there. Young flowers were whispering in melody to happy flowers that night, and tree to tree, fountains were gushing music as they fell in many a starlit grove, or a moonlit dell, yet silence came upon material things. Fair flowers, bright waterfalls and angel wings and sound alone that from the spirit sprang bore birth into the charm the maiden sang, 'neath the bluebell or streamer or tufted wild spray that keeps, from the dreamer, the moonbeam away bright beings. That ponder, with half-closing eyes, on the stars which your wonder hath drawn from the skies, till they glance through the shade, and come down to your brow like eyes of the maiden who calls on you. Now arise from your dreaming in violet bowers, to duty beseeming these starlit hours, and shake from your tresses encumbered with dew the breath of those kisses that cumber them too. Oh! How, without you, love, could angels be blessed? Those kisses of true love that lulled ye to rest. Up! Shake from your wing each hindering thing, the dew of the night it would weigh down your flight, and true love caresses, oh, leave them apart. They are light on the tresses, but lead on the heart. Liga! Liga! My beautiful one! Whose harshest idea will to melody run, oh! Is it thy will on the breezes to toss? Or, capriciously still, like the lone albatross, incumbent on night, as she on the air, to keep watch with delight on the harmony there? Liga! Wherever thy image may be, no magic shall sever thy music from thee. Thou hast bound many eyes in a dreamy sleep, but the strange still arise which thy vigilance keep the sound of the rain, which leaps down to the flower and dances again in the rhythm of the shower. The murmur that springs from the growing of grass are the music of things that are modeled, alas! Away, then, my dearest, oh! Hie thee away to the springs that lie clearest beneath the moon ray, to lone lake that smiles, in its stream of deep rest, at the many star isles that tingle its breast, where wild flowers, creeping, have mingled their shade. On its margin is sleeping full many a maid. Some have left the cool glade, and have slept where the bee aroused them. My maiden, on moorland and lea go. Breathe on their slumber, all softly in ear, thy musical number they slumbered to hear. For what can awaken an angel so soon, whose sleep hath been taken beneath the cold moon, as the spell which no slumber of witchery may test, the rhythmical number which lulled him to rest. Spirits in wing, and angels to the view, 1,000 seraphs burst empyrean throw, young dreams still hovering on their drowsy flight. Seraphs in all but knowledge, the keen light that fell, refracted, through the eye bounds, afar, O death! From eye of God upon that star, sweet was that air, sweeter still that death. Sweet was that air, even with us the breath of science dims the mirror of our joy. To them 'twere the simoom, and would destroy. For what, to them, avail fit to know that truth is falsehood or that bliss is woe? Sweet was their death, with them to die was rife with the last ecstasy of satiate life. Beyond that death no immortality, but sleep that pondereth and is not to be! And there, oh! May my weary spirit dwell apart from heaven's eternity, and yet how far from hell! What guilty spirit, in what shrubbery dim, heard not the stirring summons of that hymn? But too, they fell, for heaven no grace imparts to those who hear not for their beating hearts. A maiden angel and her seraph love row. Where, and ye may seek the wide skies over, was love, the blind, near sober duty known. Unguided love hath fallen mid tears of perfect moan. He was a goodly spirit, he too fell, a wanderer by moss mantled, while a gazer on the lights that shine above, a dreamer in the moonbeam by his love. What wonder! For each star is eye like there, and looks so sweetly down on beauty's hair, and they, and every mossy spring were holy to his love-haunted heart and melancholy. The night had found, to him a night of woe, upon a mountain crag, young Angelo beetling it bent athwart the solemn sky, and scowled on starry worlds that down beneath it lie. Here sat he with his love, his dark eye bent with eagle gaze along the firmament, now turned it upon her, but ever then it trembled to the orb of earth again. Ianthe, dearest, see how dim that ray! How lovely 'tis to look so far away! She seemed not thus upon that autumn eve I left her gorgeous halls, nor mourn to leave. That eve I should remember well. The sun ray dropped in Lemnos, with a spell on arabesque carving of a gilded hall wherein I sate, and on the draperied wall and on my eyelids the heavy light. How drowsily it weighed them into night! On flowers, before, and mist, and love they ran with Persian Sadi in his Gulistan. But oh, that white exclamation mark! I slumbered, death, the while, stole o'er my senses in that lovely isle so softly that no single silken hair awoke that slept or knew that he was there. The last spot of earth sore by trod upon was a proud temple called the Parthenon. More beauty clung around her columned wall than ever thy glowing bosom beats withal, and when old time my wing did disenthrall, thence sprang I as the eagle from his tower, and years I left behind me in an hour. What time upon her airy bounds I hung, one half the garden of her globe was flung unrolling as a chart unto my view, tenantless cities of the desert too. Ianthe, beauty crowded on me then, and half I wished to be again of men. My Angelo! And why of them to be? A brighter dwelling place is here for thee, and greener fields than in yon world above, and woman's loveliness and passionate love. But, list, Ianthe! When the air so soft failed, as my penitent spirit leapt aloft, perhaps my brain grew dizzy, but the world I left so late was into chaos hurled, sprang from her station, on the winds apart, and rolled, aflame, the fiery heaven athwart. Methought, my sweet one, Then I ceased to soar and fell not swiftly as I rose before, but with a downward, tremulous motion through light, raise, this golden star unto. Nor along the measure of my falling hours, for nearest of all stars was the unto hours dread star. That came, amid a night of mirth, a red Didalian on the timid earth. We came into thy earth but not to us be given Our Lady's bidding to discuss, we came, my love, around, above, below, gay firefly of the night we come and go, nor ask a reason save the angel not she grants to us, as granted by her God but, Angelo, then thine great time unfurled never his fairy wing or fairier world. Dim was its little disk, and angel eyes alone could see the phantom in the skies, when first Aaraaf knew her course to be headlong thitherward o'er the starry sea. But when its glory swelled upon the sky, as glowing beauties bust beneath man's eye, we paused before the heritage of men, and thy star trembled as doth beauty then. Thus, in discourse, the lovers whiled away the night that waned and brought no day. They fell, for heaven to them no hope imparts who hear not for the beating of their hearts. The End.